Good evening.
Good evening. What's up?
What's going on? We popping in here late, ain't we?
Hey, better late than never. We in here though.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We is in
I'm
here.
I'm so excited about our conversation tonight.
Me too.
And I'm checking it because I don't see it on Facebook just yet, but we're gonna go
Okay.
forth with it. Hopefully it'll pop up soon.
Okay. Yeah, so we talking about blended families.
There we go. I see it.
Listen,
Yes. Blended families.
where'd you come up with that from? Or where'd you get it from?
You know, by us being in the family structure that we're in,
Yeah.
one of the conversations that does not come up is blending families because let's be honest, us lesbians, we love the family, especially us studs. We love the family life. We love to be stud daddy and all of that good stuff, but we don't talk about the ups and downs of it, the truth of it. We don't talk about the hurt, the pain, the joys. We don't talk about none of that because in my perspective, we want that family dynamic so bad that we're willing to accept that. And a lot of times, us masculine identifying, sometimes, I'm not going to say a lot of
Uh-huh.
times, don't even come with the children. We go into situations where there's children and we don't have that conversation enough to really talk about blending and blended families.
I agree. I
You
agree.
know,
Well,
go ahead.
and I was just gonna say, I know we're going this is our early disclaimer. We may ruffle some feathers, okay?
Ruffle, ruffle, ruffle.
We're not trying to tussle with y'all in the comments, okay? But if you have a blended family or if you have questions, you have comments, so on and so forth, please, please, please make sure you reach out to us in our social media platforms, whether or not you're watching us on Facebook or if you're watching us on YouTube. We want to get your feedback. We want to hear from you. Not to mention, if you don't mind, again, I hate to keep saying this or beating a dead horse. Please like, follow, and share the content because we need people to engage with us. We need to build our community, and y'all are people, y'all are folks, y'all are
And we're
partners.
here for you.
Absolutely.
We're here for
All
you.
right. So listen, blended families. What's your perspective or what's your stance on it? Because we can be listen, just like you said, these
Listen,
LGBT families, they be rotating them around sometimes.
listen, right. And I have so much opinion on it. So I'm trying to see which way I want to go. So I'm in a blended family, right?
Okay.
So my blended family, my wife had children from her previous relationship. I did not, I don't have any biological children.
Okay.
Yes, I wanted the family. I love that. And we feel that a way to a woman's heart is with her with her children. And so um now we have a child together that was birthed from my wife, but in our relationship that bears my last name, which is extremely important.
Okay.
But also one thing that I didn't know, and I told her this, and this is not in an offense. If I knew what I know know now, I would not have dated anybody with children. It was a hard struggle trying to find that balance
Oh yeah.
because it's more than just coming in and for me being on my own for as long as I've been set in my ways, loving the way that my life was structured. I love to have white carpet, all with that. So it was hard to mesh that together, and I'm not always the most tactful in how I say stuff.
Approach.
I say it the way I feel,
Okay.
and I don't apologize for that. I'm a true cat, so we don't apologize for what we said or sometimes how we said it. Now, did it offend you in a particular way that I did not intend it? Now that I can apologize for, but I'm not apologize for what I said. I meant exactly what I said. And so that was hard for them. And and then it was the understanding of I'm not your daddy. I'm not trying to be. I'm a whole girl, you know? And then they did not respect at some point the conversations that me and their mother needed to have to make this work. They
Understood.
did not, yeah, they overstepped boundaries. It was more conversations with her without me. And then that left a big gap because I'm like, that ain't how this works. Because at the end of the day, and this was a hard conversation we had to have. They got somewhere else to go. They daddy house. They ain't have to stay here. And a lot of people can say that it's hard, but it's the truth of the matter. I didn't say you had to get out and go live on the street, but you can't stay in this house and disrespect me
Right.
by any means. And that was a conversation me and my wife had to have that was hurtful because it was very intense. It was hard. It was a
Okay.
harsh conversation because she had to realize, like, I have a say in this and how I'm being treated because just because they're children, I'm not going to bypass that. I'm going to continue to get my feelings hurt just because they kids.
Right.
Give a damn.
Right.
Your feelings can get hurt too. And I mean I could just go on and on, but now that we're here, our children and they're ours, we have a blended family, not with just her past relationships, but I mean us as parents. We come
Right.
together for every game, every birthday, and we didn't do that at one point.
Okay.
I used to have a birthday. They used to have a birthday that I wasn't invited to.
Oh
I
wow.
went through
Okay.
that for several years,
Okay.
especially with our now 11-year-old. His father would have his birthday parties separate that I couldn't even attend.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I've been there since the beginning. And when I mean the beginning, I've been there since the beginning. You can take that how you want. But now we're in such a good space where I literally call him my baby daddy.
Okay. Me too, man. I got some baby daddies.
Right.
Okay. Come
And
through.
we're right. And we're good. And like even today, her first husband, where majority of the children come from, because she was
Hmm.
married with all her children. So, we was at the game together. We're good. We have a good relationship, but it wasn't always like that. And then
Understood.
even with the growing, yeah, and with the growing pains of the children, they want to, they rather it be their mom and their dad. They didn't want joy. Then it was, it was a lot. And now, there is a great co-parenting situation. We're finding balance still because we still got younger children,
Sure.
and making sure that we continue that balance, and making sure that the support is balanced and fair. Because the older kids is like, what the younger kids get. This is like it's a different situation. I came in, y'all was
Yeah.
already here.
Yeah.
The other ones came after the fact, so it's kind of like it is gonna be
Yeah.
a little sideways, you know.
Yeah.
And like for you have a blended family. How did that work for
Yeah.
you?
Absolutely. So it was in a lot of ways it was similar, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I would say that I always, when I'm speaking to people, whether they're LGBT or straight, when I met my wife, and we reconnected, I should say, the oldest kid was already in the ninth grade, I think she was, and the youngest
Mm-hmm.
was, I think, in the second grade. So my analogy or how I looked at it was like I came in in the middle of the game, like halftime, you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
So like
Like put me in
they
the
are
game, coach.
right. So for me, because I had gone through this previously in some other relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to, figure out what worked, what didn't work. There were some things that I had talked with my wife, well, now wife, about in terms of how we should approach certain things and how we should handle
Mm-hmm.
things, right? And I remember one thing particularly that's standing out, right away. We dated, for a while, a period and whatever, before I actually transitioned or moved from Mississippi
Mm-hmm.
to Ohio. We sat down with the kids and I asked them, what is it that you're comfortable with between, seeing in terms of myself and your mom, right? Because I didn't want to reach over and hold her hand or to kiss her or whatever. And that made
Mm-hmm.
them uncomfortable, right? So I'm a person, I'm coming into, their home, so to speak. And trying to figure out where I kind of fit in, right? So
Oh
those were some
God,
of the
that's it.
conversations that we
Mm-hmm.
had. Like, what are you guys comfortable with? And because she had, dated other women before, they were comfortable with, seeing their mother kiss another woman or hold hands or, co-parenting and to some degree, from that perspective, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
the other side to that was I wanted them to give me feedback on, how they felt, because again,
Right.
if I'm coming in, I have to know you guys, but at the same time, I have to give them some leeway, or at least appear, or give them the opportunity to come to me as well, right? And
Right.
share
Right.
certain things that may be of discomfort to them. Um, that worked well in the very beginning. I would say that is a key thing. You have to, have conversations, right? The parents have to have conversations, the kids have to have conversations, because all of this is new, really, to everybody. And because
Mm-hmm.
you want everybody to be able to get along, and from a place of love and respect, have that dialogue, and feel comfortable asking those questions back and forth. So that
Right.
was one of the big things that I had learned that I felt like was very important in terms of, blending or merging two families. And like you said, I did not come with kids, so I don't know what that's like to be able to say, I don't even want to say carry a kid around and be like, okay, this is the relationship we're gonna be in now. But sometimes, sometimes that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? I just want to
Right.
give a shout out to Kiana. It looks like she just joined us on Facebook. So Kiana,
All
I don't
right.
know if you're in a blended family, but please, please, please give us your
No,
feedback.
that's my baby mama.
That's a baby mama. Hey, baby
That's
mama,
my
what's
baby
up?
mama. Yeah, so that's the other mother of our 11-year-old. So yeah,
Okay. She says
it's
a
like
whole
she said, it's
job.
a whole job.
And it
And
is. Okay.
right, and it's crazy because it's wonderful to say we're doing it well.
Yeah.
We have a healthy 11-year-old, and we're using him
Okay.
because we have our family, and then we have Kiana and his father. So you have
Okay.
Kiana and his father, and you have his mother and me, and we're working together. We have conversations about him, making sure everybody's on the same page. Because again, he's 11, he's growing, and he is the bridge that keeps us together. Now, granted, we're gonna throw Abby in there as well, because Abby she claims everybody, so she
Yeah.
think that's her daddy, her
Yeah. Well,
mama, and
they're
everybody.
kids.
Well,
Yeah.
and they get and they treat her like that. So it's like we're safe if they're around them and everything like that. But it was a while back where it wasn't there, and we had to get to that place as adults. Not this was
Absolutely.
before Kiana came in the picture. We had to establish, like you said, where I fit in,
Right.
how I fit in, and how we could make this situation work.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful now because we have to make sure as parents on either side that we create an atmosphere in a home that your children don't have to recover from.
Oh, amen. There's no need to
And
cause further trauma. Yeah, absolutely.
exactly, because it's
Unnecessarily.
already unnecessarily because they already dealing with the separation of their birth parents, their biological parents, and then now you got other voices coming in that has the right to say, "Sit down.
Hmm.
No, you want punishment. Hey, boy."
You don't even know their
And
name at that point. Just
exactly. So you have to be able to, you know, navigate through that and be okay with
yeah.
not offending the parent.
Yes. Yes. But that takes
You
the
know,
maturity, I think.
right. But everybody didn't come into that space because I know when I came in, I had to figure out where did I start where did I belong in the relationship first before we even got to
Ah.
the kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if I didn't have a position in with my now wife, I know I'm not gonna have a position with the kids.
Yeah.
So I needed to figure out. I had the self-esteem issues, of where do I fit.
Yeah.
Then I'm a very joking person. I laugh, I joke all the time. Like nobody takes me seriously, but I be serious. So having that with the children, and
Yeah.
like they're always, thinking I'm on joke time. And I'm like, no, you really need to get your act together because right now, me and my wife, we're getting on the same page, but we come from two different backgrounds. And when it came to education, when it comes to child rearing, I'm from the South. You jumped on a kid and you beat them down for everything they did. So trying to talk them through certain things is a
Yeah.
lot. when you just want to jump on them and choke them and do a DDT and just body slam them and all kind of stuff. And sometimes I do have to
Huh.
do that, but and then also in addition to that, parent like when me and my wife was talking the other day, we had to get to the same page of like our daughter, she's 3, she's going to be going to school soon. And I want her to go to private school.
Okay.
One, we can afford it. And I like a quality education that you're not going to get, unfortunately, in public schools, especially in Baltimore
Right.
City.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I want her to go out. But then as we carried that conversation, I'm like, I'm not going to sit there and clap a kid. Now I'm gonna celebrate a kid. But when you graduate high
Sure.
school, okay, that's your responsibility. That's
Yeah.
not a a destination.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
your
Baby
responsibility.
mama
You
just
gotta
jumped on.
graduate.
Yeah.
Who she
Listen.
did?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
That's all right. We in the
I'm
same
like,
space.
look, she's trying to send the baby away. That's what she doing.
So let
And
me.
but what? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to ask you right there. So is that a conversation in terms of how you want to parent? If you guys decide to have kids, throughout the relationship, is that a conversation beforehand or
Oh
in the
God,
midst of?
it
Because I
has
feel
to
like some
have
of them have to
before.
happen before. Okay.
Listen, if you don't, we never had this conversation before. So
Okay.
now it's coming up and she's saying she needs to go to public school. And I'm like, not mine. No, ma'am. I will go clean bathrooms at night to make sure her tuition is paid.
Okay. Listen.
I'm absolutely like I'm no, even when though I went to a public school, that was years ago. School was
Yeah.
good. And
Yeah.
I went to a really good school.
Okay.
So it's like, no. Mm-mm. And if we would have had these conversations before, I don't think it would be as stressful and
Right.
disconnecting as it is now because
Right.
we are both on two. Now, granted, we're going to do what's best for her. And I really do believe my wife is leaning more to what I want. But in the same sense, it is, you could definitely tell we on two different sides of the street about it.
Yeah. I understand that. I understand that. I would just say for me personally, I knew in the second grade, in the second grade, I knew I did not want to have anybody's kids. Period.
Right.
I did not want to parent. I did not want that level of responsibility. Period. So where I stand, and this is God's honest truth, I've told my wife this several times. I am okay or comfortable saying I can share the responsibilities of co-parenting. In
Mm-hmm.
my naive mind, I assumed that once a kid turns 18, they're an adult.
You're
They no
gone.
longer need
Goodbye.
you. I was
Goodbye.
dumb as hell. That was the stupidest thing. Now, now, listen, I had no idea. They need you more after 18. But in
Listen,
my defense, I did not know any better.
and that, you know what, I'm glad you brought that up because that is the naive of all of us who don't have children that come
Yeah.
into situations where there's existing children, because
Yeah.
we have grown and matured, and most of us we've accomplished some certain things that people with children have not. Now, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that goes for everybody. What I'm saying is that we've had our own apartment already, maybe
Yeah.
early.
Oh, so we're gonna wait till your audio comes back up. But listen, I 100% agree. We have all
What
done
about
those
now? Can you
things.
hear me?
Yeah, I can
Okay.
hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So because it started static, and I'm like, okay, this got to go. So I feel that I can say personally, I've been on my own since I was 15 years old. I had my first apartment on Crestwood
Wow.
Avenue in Jacksonville,
Hmm.
Florida, when I was 15. My
Oh
uncle
wow.
bought me my first car. Now, granted, I was a little spoiled. He bought me a 1994 red Porsche 944. That was my first car. I
Okay.
was already working. My first job was at Barnett Bank, at their corporate center. So, and I was doing good in school. I had my own early. So I'm thinking you should be prepared. And
Yeah.
I also had to take into account that when we was in school, we had guidance counselors, we had preparatory things set in line where you was either going to school, going to the military, doing something that
You
these
had a
kids
clue.
don't have no more.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's like we now have our 21-year-old and our 22-year-old that stays in the house with us. And I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, yeah,
And like you said, being naive, thinking
yeah,
18, y'all need to be out. What's the plan?
yeah,
But
yeah.
then I'm like, hey, it's different. It's a different time.
Absolutely. But
You
listen,
still got to
so
get out
when
though.
at some point, yes, at some point, for me, I could say because our family is blended. So we have several kids, 7 kids actually. We have 7 kids.
Mhm.
My wife has 7 kids. We just recently got, or not recently, within the last, I'll say 4 years or so, we got custody of my nephew. So there's
Mhm.
8 kids, well, 8 young adults. Let me say that because we only
Right.
have one in the house now who's 17, who's a senior in high school. All the rest of them are adults. They're out of the house, right? I would say for me, one of the hardest balances in co-parenting is, who is a disciplinarian, right? So I have the way I think and how I was raised and what my beliefs are, right? And then when you join, into the home, just like you were saying, you and your wife sometimes, you bump heads on certain things, or you have certain discussions that,
Mhm.
you have to coerce the other person to lean in your direction. With that being said, sometimes, especially when the kids are adults now, or as old as they are, for me, and
Mhm.
maybe in your case, it's difficult to figure out where that balance is of
Right.
how much do you discipline, how much tough love do you give, how much, like, listen, you got to get it together. There's not a reason or explanation for you to be 20 whatever and you still haven't figured this part of life out. You know what I'm saying? Have you found that balance, and what did that look like for you?
We have now. I think we have because
Okay,
I'm more of tough love.
gotcha.
Shay is more of the disciplinary one.
Okay,
She don't lay hands like now. I will
okay.
lay hands. She
Not
lays
the
voice.
pastoral hands, but
Yeah, she lays voice and throw bodies. So typically she don't discipline till they get to a certain age. Cause she be body slamming and it be WWE and you got to sit there like, please don't call the police. So that's what I've witnessed with her. Like she wait till they get to a certain age so that she could Sparta kick them and
okay,
put them in headlocks, hit them in head with lamps. And that has happened.
okay,
That's her. Me,
okay.
um, I'm more of the tough love 100% because I do believe in a plan.
Right.
And as your parent, we're here and we're in a good space
Yeah.
to help you reach that. You just need to know where the heck you're going. And I don't care. Me, you can have 15 ideas. Do all 15. Let's see which one
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer on that because at an early age, you can make those mistakes and it's easier to recover from. Not to
Absolutely.
mention, we're covering your bills. So make some
That part.
mistakes that's not going to get you in prison or strung out, and let's do that. But I do expect, I expect, and I also inspect what I expect. So if I have a conversation with you and I'm asking you, what do you plan on doing? And I'm giving you ideas of because we've been there, and I think this generation don't think we've not we that we don't know.
Right.
We've been there. So when I'm telling you XYZ, giving you good feedback, and you're not moving on it, I get frustrated. And so my
Hmm.
wife tries to say, well, they're not you, they don't get, I get that. But then it gets to a point where I cut it off. I'm
Okay.
not going to continue to give in what I consider good to the dogs. Not calling them dogs, but I'm not going to continue to feed you when you're not ready to accept it because it's going to make me exhausted.
Understood.
And at that point, I'm not going to come save you either because that's
Hmm.
I'm not going to do. I told you so. I'm gonna do you should have been better prepared. And like in our particular situation, our children they've been living here rent free, bill free for 3 years.
Okay.
So that means the plan that me and your mother gave you in the beginning should have been implemented where you should have been saving because you're working, you ain't giving us no coin. So you should have been saving so that
Yeah.
now that it's time to venture on your own growth path, now you're coming up short. And
Yeah.
it's a problem because
Yeah.
I don't understand because that was your coin.
Right.
We made sure that your basic necessities plus more was
Mm.
covered.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not one of our kids can ever say they don't get what they ask in every cash app and request. Even if I deny it, reject it just because I'm being funny, you still get it.
Yeah.
Everything you ask for, you're getting it.
Yeah.
And so you should have taken advantage of that. So at that point, I no longer have an understanding
Right.
and I don't want to hear nothing else. But
Mm-hmm.
with our 3-year-old, I really just think we old. And so she really
She wore
trying
y'all
us.
down. The
Oh
other ones
God.
wore you down.
That 3-year-old is a whole nother beast. Like y'all think I be joking when I be posting stuff. Like I be dead serious. When she rolled her eyes at me the other day, that anger rose up in me, but my knees wouldn't move. I couldn't jump up fast enough when she ran. But I took that that baby wipe and I hold it and it hit her in the back. She fell and slid in the hallway and played a dead. Listen, this girl is taking a lot. So
Listen, listen.
yeah,
I'm gonna pray for you. I'm definitely
please,
praying
because
for
we
y'all. I'm praying for
and
y'all.
and I think now we're literally realizing like we can't discipline them the way we were disciplined too,
Right.
because spanking may have made us stronger, but it's destroying these little weak kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know
And
what? That leads me. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that leads me to another question or another aspect of this, right? So,
Mhm.
if we're parenting or we figured out how to parent, sometimes there's another person that we may or may not have accounted for, right? The biological parent, right? That maybe that's another mother or maybe that's another father. Um, their absence thereof in the household or their lack of ability to influence the kids, whether it's disciplinary or positively, in terms of what path they should be going on. Let's talk about the baby daddies and the baby mamas, right?
Right,
We talked about your situation where you guys have figured out how to blend that part of the family. Sometimes, and in some cases, especially in LGBT, they're absent, right? In my case, some of them are absent, right?
right.
And other relationships I've had as well.
Mhm.
What I will say is that it's been my experience in terms of allowing myself to be open to not just be cordial, but just a simple level of respect, right?
Right,
So I live here in this home. This is our home. They're welcome here at any time, right?
right,
And in fact, I expect to see you. Just because you are genetically related to this child that resides under our now roof
mhm,
does not excuse you from any responsibilities,
right,
any accountability, or anything like that.
right,
So
right,
with that being said, I would say they don't get off the hook. uh I'm not as lenient with them, especially if it's a man, right? And that just comes from my daddy issues, right? That's I'll raise my hand. But in all honestly, my childhood was a lot different from that. But we'll talk about that later. What has been your experience
you got
with
to do. Yeah.
the baby daddies or the baby mamas in terms of their impact and their influence on the kids today?
I can say in general because I'm blessed to not have that experience.
Hmm.
Um, our 11-year-old's father, he is awesome.
Okay.
He's awesome. So there's nothing like nothing. He's
Hmm.
awesome. And he's
So y'all
so
discipline, y'all work together for that too, or
yeah,
all aspects, or
just him as a person and how
okay,
he's raising, because of course I wasn't there with his older children, but I'm here with
okay,
this one. And
right,
just to see him raise his son, it's not just because we're in two separate houses, he's
right,
raising his son.
Good, good, good.
I mean, I honestly, Xavier rather be over there than over here. He didn't even come home on Thanksgiving, and it was our Thanksgiving. You know, he rather be over there, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm so mad because I'm like, my boy over there, and I felt some type of way, but he's awesome, and he
yeah.
loves to be in the presence of his dad. Whether they just sitting there and he on his phone and his dad watching TV, that's so healthy.
Yes.
It's ridiculous, and where I play a role at, I don't overstep my boundaries when it comes down to that. I'm not his
Okay.
dad. I'm on his
Right.
mom. My job is to continue to nurture him and find out what they need from me to help support them.
Right.
You know, that's
Absolutely.
it. If he comes over here and he needs help with schoolwork, they're gonna communicate that. You know, I'm more patient.
Okay.
So I can help him learn how to ride a bike. Well, they're gonna probably throw my baby on the ground because he ain't got this pedaling thing down yet. You know, so we try to find how that balance. Abigail is different. She is an IUI baby. So there is no other person. However, her God village supports her, and she has a legitimate godfather, a
Okay.
wonderful grandfather. They're active in her life. We have no concerns there. The older children, their father don't miss a beat with them. So
That's great.
I don't know that experience. Now, how do I know some people that are in the LGBT community, especially let's deal with studs, because
Yeah.
actual studs, because we
Yeah.
get ourselves in these situations, right? And what pisses me off is that you are so mad about the baby daddy and you fight the girl so much about the baby daddy being there in that child's life. Now, granted, some of these girls be still going back and forth with their baby daddy, and we know that to be true.
Hmm.
However, you fought for a place to be there, and then when you get there, you don't do what you're supposed to do as the other parent or the stud daddy or whatever you want to be called. And it's embarrassing. And I got about five of them in my head,
Yeah.
and and it's disgusting because we supposed to be a different standard if that's the role you want to play. Don't be wanting to be on Facebook and social media in one perspective when you're not doing the job of that other parent by taking care of them, by raising them, by nurturing them and making sure that they're getting the best, because they don't. And I know this firsthand perspective, and it's
Right.
disgusting. I know some that they've given these children their last name, and left.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, even to the point where you don't have these kids under your health insurance, you ain't got these kids under your life insurance. You a sorry parent.
Yeah.
Don't come in these kids' life and you're not willing to be 100% because you just want to dress alike. It's more than dressing alike. I'm telling you, listen, Keisha, I swear to God, I know five people in my head right now. And I'm so mad with them till I've separated, because I'm like, I can't believe you. You can't call a man sorry when you being a sorry person, because
Yeah.
you're the second person in that child's life that's still not following through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also you're not doing your due diligence. And then on the other hand, for those studs or other, family, other persons come in these children's life, and you're not doing your due diligence to protect yourself. Remember when we hosted that series in
Yeah.
February
Okay.
workshop? We had that attorney that came on there, and listen, even though me and my wife had our child together, yes, I'm on her birth certificate, even though Maryland, they don't do parent, they do mother, father. So I
Okay.
went a step further and adopted my daughter.
Okay.
And we don't take those steps because I don't know why. And then you next thing you know, y'all breaking up, and she take the baby and you looking stupid on Facebook because she
Yeah.
won't let you take the baby. Well, you should
Yeah.
have got that work done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a lot. But what about you? Because like I said, I didn't have that experience. I don't have a baby daddy situation.
Right. Yeah, I can say so. Let me back up a little bit in terms of myself, right? So
Mhm.
as a child, I grew up in New York. I'm from New York, and my father was present. Oh, let me not say that. My father, I knew where he was, right? He was never active in my life. He never played the role of father. I don't know what that is, what that means, what that looks like. I had a grandfather who did a lot of the things I would say that maybe a male would do in terms of the house, right? So that was my how I identified what a man looked like within the home.
Right.
What I will say in terms of my father is that he was married. I don't forget what age I found out that they were married. Um, but I had a little sister. For some reason, I just remember maybe around 4 or 5 or something like that, being told that I had a little sister. Okay, so fine. I meet this little sister, right? We get along great, and I meet his wife, and they have a son, an older son, right? And so in my mind, whenever I went to spend the weekends at their house or time at their house, it was great, right? But my relationship was better with my stepmother. My
Got
stepmother and my mother never argued. I never saw that. What I did see was two adults handling this co-parenting situation, and the father, although he was genetically related to me, I did not see him. Right, I did not see the exchange between the three. What I knew is if I wanted to go to my father's house, I needed to call my stepmother.
right.
Right. And their son or my stepmother's son was my brother. I was a teenager before I realized he wasn't even my brother. You know what I'm saying? But my parents, or I'm saying, my mom never told me that. She just wanted me to believe whatever, I was comfortable with.
Right.
So
Right.
that was my relationship and that was my reference. As an adult myself, I never wanted to make it difficult or hard for the other kids' parents to be involved in their life. I didn't want to allow them an excuse. I kept an open door, open invitation for conversation and what have you. And some of those olive branches worked out great, right? In terms of them feeling comfortable coming to the home, visiting their kids, being allowing their kids to go to their home, so on and so forth. There were some that were a little intimidated by the fact that their baby's mother now or child's mother is now involved with a woman, but that's
Right.
their ego, so they're sitting in their own toxicity, right? And it's affecting the kid. I did
Right.
not want to be the excuse that was causing that, so that I tried to
I
not
can understand that.
create or recreate the same thing that may or may not have been similar to my situation. But I've seen that a lot, just like you said.
Yeah,
I've
and
seen that. So,
it's I didn't even with my father, my father. I knew he was. Him, my mama was married when they had me. And
mhm,
so I knew who he was. No issues there. But it's also out of sight, out of mind. So when
mhm,
he moved on, you forgot I existed, and it's okay. Healed. We've gotten past that, so I can understand that. And when you were talking about how your stepmother was the one that you would contact to be over there and things like that. My dad just recently became a widow.
mhm.
Is it a widow? Well, whichever one when the wife died.
Widower, I think.
Widower.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
yeah. We're
Okay.
just gonna say that's what it is.
My stepmother passed,
Mhm,
and he and his second wife, who they have a child together, so she's my sister and another adopted sister through that whole union, with the one that was right after my mama. They end
okay,
up together, and I married them off on November the 8th. So
okay,
and but the reason why I'm saying that is because she asked me something. We've never really had interaction with each other,
okay.
and when I met them at the courthouse, she hugged me. She said, "How do you feel about this?" And I was like, "Well, thank you for including me."
Yeah.
Not that I'm an adult. I wouldn't have no problem with it either way it go, but it felt good to be included. So I can understand that part. And even though I may not have had experiences like that in my own home, I
Mhm,
think all children want has that innate desire to have their biological parent there in some form of their life. It's like, even if a parent is on drugs, they still have that hope that that mother is going to be their mom, not knowing that drugs is not allowing that person to be who
mm,
they are. So I think, making sure that children that are not your biological children have that relationship outside, with their other parent or their biological parents is necessary. We need to be comfortable with having that conversation, because a lot of studs want to come in and be like, "I'll be your daddy. You ain't got to worry about it." No, you cannot.
Right.
Because
Right.
at
You
the end
can't
of the day,
replace other parents.
no matter what you do, no matter how much that child loves you, they're still going to choose their biological parent over you.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happened to me before, it hurt, because I thought I was
Mm-hmm.
everything to be in a place where that child was missing. And they still try, and I had to take a step back, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it hurt. But then it's like my expectations was wrong.
Yeah.
I let me realign my expectations, because at the end of the day, that's still their day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, once I aligned my expectation, things became easier. I didn't expect to be viewed in that light. So
Yeah.
then it didn't bother me when I wasn't viewed in that light. You know, Now if my daughter do it, my 3-year-old, we gonna have a fight. So I'm like, you mine. Go choose somebody else I want. I'm gonna get them and you. You know.
Okay. Well, I have another question for you, and maybe you can share from your experiences. Uh, my wife again has had other relationships with other people, obviously, and those people sometimes still have relationship with the kids.
Mhm.
What are your feelings or your thoughts about that? Me personally, I don't care. Could care less. The more people that love on them, the better.
Right.
The fact that they're your ex, I could care less. That's how I feel. I've never been a jealous person. I'm not, I don't, that's just not something I want to do. I don't have the time and the energy to worry about what you do. You here to pick up the kid and y'all still got a relationship.
Oh,
Great.
see you
What
later.
time? We got something on the grill. You hungry? Whatever that is, but I don't have a problem with it.
I never had a problem, but people had a problem with me,
Ah,
because they don't think that I know how to separate. I don't care about her. I'm blowing the horn. Beep beep. They can come outside. They can call me. We can stand outside. I don't care.
yeah,
And people that had a problem with me because they were intimidated by me. This was previous relationship. This is when I stayed in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
yeah,
When I was out there doing my thing. So this is way before I got married. They had a problem with me because I automatically bond a relationship with children. I
yeah.
love old. I don't have, old, young. I love children. They love me, and I'm okay with that. They can
Mm-hmm.
come over, they can stay. Don't mind picking them up, doing whatever when I'm spending time with them. But when they got a new boo, they knew boo had a problem with me, and that's something that they needed to work out. Which back
Yeah.
then we were all immature. So then I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
well, you gonna cause a problem with me being over here, then I'll leave. And then I've missed out on years in that child's life because I allowed an insecure individual to destroy that relationship when I know it was healthy.
Yeah.
So I've had that experience. I've met other and
So
no,
what would you say about and I know you've seen this happen for studs who just
uh-oh.
serially collect kids that don't belong to them.
Oh my
And
God.
they take this kid or this relationship that they used to have and they still go visit them kids. Now they with a new boo and they visiting them kids after they break up. Then they go on to somebody else and they just got a whole collection of kids that don't belong to them.
That's our stereotype, because you seeing so many people joke about it. These little studs out there, and that's my baby mama, that's my son. That boy was 5 when you got there. He's not yours.
And don't even know their shoe size.
Exactly. That's my baby mama. I'm always love. You got this sense of loyalty that is so delusional. Now, if me and my wife would separate, which we're not, but if we decide to separate, I already have my relationships with each one of the children. And like you, we have 7.
Yeah.
So between us, we have 7. We also got 7 and a possible grandchild, because we
Okay.
still waiting for some results on that last one. So we
Okay.
have 7 and a possible grandchildren.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
feel that we have those relationships already established that if we separate, there won't be no issue that I don't even have to go through you to talk with them and we're
Right.
okay. But I believe that it's a stigma and a stereotype of in the LGBT community with stud or aggressive masculine identifying lesbians where we go and we collect these children and we do collect these babies and next thing you know that's my baby mama, I'm gonna always be there. No, you're not.
Right.
You're absolutely not. Because if you didn't do the necessary steps to solidify that relationship with that child, you're a liar, you're delusional, you need to get over it. You need to go get a real job, pull your pants up, and get your life right.
Well, so I 100% agree with you, and I've seen that too, and it is unfortunate. I would say on the other end of that, right? It has been my experience that sometimes women will connect you with those kids in a way that, for example, I had several that ask me to be the kids' godmother. And whether we've together or not together, I choose not because I want a clean break, right?
Mhm.
And in all honesty and all transparency, if we are no longer together, and it depends on the relationship with the kids, um, I I choose not to continue that. If we agree, if the kids and I agree, if they're old enough, then that's great. But I'm not collecting. I'm not keeping holding on to your kids. I would prefer you not allow or not push your kid off on me because you want to keep me in your life. But because I recognize that, I chose to say, no, uh we
Right.
can be friends or whatever. But that did happen to me once, and I realized, or I felt as though that was their goal or their intention, and going forward I didn't do that. So I do have one that exists.
Now I have a goddaughter
Hmm.
that this was when in my younger years in Jacksonville, Florida. And it you were saying, and it literally brought it all back. She even named her daughter Joy.
Okay.
And we was in church together. So it wasn't no hanky panky at all. And that's the God honest truth. I didn't even know what I liked back then in my younger years. I existed. Atlanta turned me out. But in Jacksonville, I
So
was
it's
a
time
good
for the A.
listen, that A would get you. You want to find yourself, go to Atlanta.
Woo.
You would come out all kind of different. You might come out playing the flute. We don't know. But she was a girl I met in church. She was older than me,
Okay.
and we heavy in church. I mean, I'm still heavy in church, but at that time, I was the armor bearer. So I wasn't sex and sexual preference, all of that. I knew that I liked women and I left it where it was.
Okay.
I was in ministry, I was the minister of music, I was preaching, I was doing a lot. So I didn't have relationships. And she named her daughter Joy, and I felt so honored and privileged. And I honestly don't even know where they are now. And she got mad at me. I don't even remember why. She got mad at me, and it was at church and it was outside, and I thought we was gonna be together, and I named my daughter Jordan. I'm like, at that time I didn't know what I wanted, so I wasn't, we never even had this conversation because I was literally living for the Lord. Like I didn't even know I was
So you
I
didn't know
was
you was in a relationship.
when did this happen? And I felt bad because I'm like, you made me, and I take God parenting very
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
Very seriously. And you done named your little girl, her name is Joy. And I'm like, this is an honor. I'm here for life. And
Yeah.
you had a whole relationship in your head that didn't exist. And I would have denied it at that point at any, because I was in church. I didn't want nobody to see me as
Yeah.
gay. I would
Sure.
have denied all the way to hell. No, I don't know what you're talking about. But it was like, ma'am. And that was a shocker. You
Yeah.
know,
That threw you for a loop.
yeah, and it's like, and I know that with me being a demisexual, I,
Okay.
I'm not to relationships. I'm a demisexual. So creating those bonds is what will attract me. Now, I'm not attracted to children, so let me make sure I clarify that. I know that bonds and relationships and conversations, that bonds me, so I have to stay away from it all. That's why when females hit me up, I'm hitting and quitting. Now, hey, all right, that's good, thank you. Because if we start conversing more,
Yeah.
you're gonna end thinking we're in a relationship because
Ah,
I get relaxed, I get comfortable, and honestly, I don't even have the desire for it. I
yeah.
mean, like I can't help that my conversation's as smooth as the cream cheese on your bagel. But
All right.
that's
One time for the coach.
just, but so I have to make sure that I don't create those relationships with
Right.
other women and with children. Because next thing you know, I'm going to feel a sense of ownership. I'm going to feel a sense of responsibility, and I'm going to
Right.
engage. And as crazy as my wife is, I don't want the problems.
Yeah. 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 I agree. Listen, she already said that you collect people, but but you have no clue.
Wow.
Listen, that has not been my experience. I can't say that, I had a clue, but I do feel like sometimes that women use kids as tools to keep certain women, or and they may do it for men too. I don't know. I've never been a man, but I do know that it has happened to me on a couple occasions, and only one was successful, but it was after the fact before I realized that I was still green. I was 20 something, 23, 24, somewhere around there. So that's what we're gonna say that is. And that's what it was. But I learned very quickly that, and then to be honest with you, I can't even say that I've had, a lot of longer distant or longer term relationships. So I can't say that. What I will say is that I've had some women to, hold kids or put kids on me to kind of keep me there.
But you know what's also stupid about that is that, especially when they get pregnant, the baby dad don't want to have nothing to do with it. So then this little stud come in and they want to be stud daddy. And then they be having these arguments as if that baby came out of something that that don't work for real. It's like, how do
Right.
we, that baby ain't made in China. Quit playing. Like, y'all,
At
they be
all.
right fighting and tussling, acting like that baby really came out of that. Like, come
Yeah.
on. Like,
Yeah.
man, that ain't my baby. That baby didn't, that thing said made in China, and that baby's not made in China. So quit putting that
Okay.
baby. And if you
I
can read it,
100%
you know
agree.
what I'm talking about. Quit
Yeah.
playing.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm just thanking God that ain't never happened to me, I ain't-
But okay, let me ask you a funny question.
yeah.
With the life that we've lived,
Yeah.
how many kids would you had if you was a man?
Woo. Listen, I joke with my other friends about this all the time. I think, yeah, and you know what? I could say that there's only probably two women that ever met or know that I would ever agree to have kids with. Only two. And with that being said, maybe no more than two. No more than two. And
You're a good
I
one.
just look at kids. I just look at having a kid as at the very base level. That's $30,000 for college, and we ain't even ate yet. I can't do it, and it's too much responsibility. Like you got to
Right.
teach them stuff. You got to clothe them and feed them, and
And they
it's a
always
lot.
hungry.
And then they got to go to school. You got to get. I'm not trying to do all of that.
But you know
I just
what? A
wanted
lot
to
of
be
people don't
me.
even think about that. When you out there just humping and scumping, you ain't thinking
Woo.
about, you just making these babies out here. And I'm sitting there like I told my wife, I said, we about to pay $24,000 a year for a pre-K. I said, wait a minute, let's think about that. I said she better know at least 6 languages by the time she get to kindergarten. She need to know how to
Okay,
sew. She need to know how to crochet. I want her to know it all for 24,000 a year. But we don't think
man.
about the cost. I know I ain't gonna lie to you. I'll be y'all will think I'm from Utah. Many kids I would have.
Listen, this was my go-to when I was younger, right? I used to tell because I did not always date women, right? There was a short period of
Mhm.
time that there was a little overlap, a little whatever. But I always told them, I said, listen, condoms cost way less than Pampers. I assure you, it costs way less.
Wait.
So it's either one or the other. That's just what it is. And this is another thing that comes to mind, right? Everybody you're in a relationship with, situationship, you ain't got to have kids with them. You
But
just
you know,
don't.
we gay language. We're gonna do gay math. Gay math. You
Gay
all know
math.
gay math. We we're gonna have kids and dogs and other kind of fur babies within a week. And gay math. Let's talk about gay math. Now, granted, I ain't that gay. Like that's why I really have to separate myself from the LGBT because I'm not that gay. It took a while. Like I might fall, my heart may fall for somebody once I'm into that situation.
Yeah.
But it took a while. like, like it took a while. We ain't moving in together. It wasn't until me and my wife got engaged, I think, when we moved in together.
Okay.
I love my space. Absolutely not. Don't come in my
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
We're not co-inhabiting nowhere. And I tried it back in my Atlanta days. Met this real young, cute girl, this little young tender.
She
And
got you.
and then this way I ain't gonna lie, and I know it's gonna be real shallow. Wonderful girl, beautiful. I was so happy. I came home and her mother was over there. And I walked in and I looked around and she had this, she put a place setting and this thing on my dining room table. And that was ugly. And
Oh.
she scratched my dining room table and she had to go.
Mm.
Yeah, it was over. And her mama was like, "You so wrong." I said, I don't know what went off of me, but when I came home, and I don't like the color red as in decor.
Okay.
And my table was black lacquer. This one black lacquer used to be the thing. And I had this china cabinet to go with it, and I had oriental design. And she had these red flowers motif on my table with place settings with these woven chargers, and something
Distasteful.
me sparked. And yeah, and it was over. She had to go. She had to go back to her mom's house. You can't live here. Don't. And then you scratch my table. So
That was it. You
I,
got to
I
go.
needed to live on, and I'm like that now. It's bad. It's really bad. But
Yeah.
yeah, and she had to go. So if she out there watching, that's the reason why you had to go. Because I'm scratching my table, and I don't like red flowers and fake flowers on my table, and it
Yeah.
did not the oriental motif that I had going on. She really messed with me that day.
Yeah. Oh man, listen, and you know what? That was key right there. What you brought up was oftentimes when you're blending families, and I've heard different scenarios and how people do it. Very different from maybe what I do. So when you blend your family and you live under one roof, preferably, I would assume, um, one partner, perhaps maybe the more femme person, maybe in some cases, feel as though they have to decorate the entire home, right, with
Mhm.
their fingerprint on it, right? The other person may or may not have as much say so. I myself, I disagree with that method, right?
Right.
I feel as though I'm not very picky. I'm very, lenient. I can be, flexible, right? You can
Mhm.
have, some spaces where have your influence or whatever, but I still have to have a space or a place to express how I, like my decor, as long as they're not too far, you know what I'm saying? I don't want Southern style, in one
I
part of
hate
the house and modern in another, you know what I'm saying? They gotta
that.
mesh, but I don't feel as though it's one person's sole responsibility to be in control of that portion of it. I feel like that's something that y'all should discuss and equally decide on, divvying up whatever so that it meshes well.
Right. So it's like I know with me, it's like we had a balance of decor when we moved into this house. All right. So I know how I can be.
Hmm.
I when I'm here and I'm focused, I'm a freight train. Might as well move out the way. And so I had to take into account that when it comes down to the decorating, I'm more of the feminine one.
Okay.
Okay. So To be honest with you, this was one of the biggest arguments that me and Shay had that went over for months. And we had to go to counseling for it anyway, because
What?
it was a lot. It wasn't that I wanted things a certain way. I gave her space to do things the way she wanted to do.
Okay.
However, I said, and I'm sticking with this, I said, do whatever you want, but I didn't want that ghetto black and white. I didn't want the black and gold. I said, I don't want roosters in my kitchen. I do not want apples in my, I don't not nobody who want it. I don't want a country kitchen. I was very, that's what I said. And I still stick by that. All these years later, I still don't want a rooster looking at me. And and no, and she took this on a whole emotional spiral that you just want stuff your way. You didn't, I'm like, I didn't say that. I just told you what I didn't want. I only said like 4 or 5 things I didn't want. You had a plethora of other stuff to pick. But then again, it's blending two households because I changed decor with each residence. So I
Okay.
never took over furniture. So
Yeah.
when we moved into this house, I know it wasn't her preferred area.
Okay.
Now she picked this house,
Okay.
but it wasn't her preferred area. I get that. But we got more house for the money, and we really do live in a good neighborhood. So I was okay with that. She was okay with
Okay.
it. So, and we also had the same issue in our wedding. She felt that I took over the wedding. I did okay. All right, we passed all that. We married now. So I gave her more free reign with just consult me on it.
So this
And
is
I also feel that it's healthy to have your own certain parts as your own space,
yeah.
right? Because in my office, I went with a dark walnut furniture. I love, you look at my curves, I love that. She called it Brady Bunch, but I love that 60s style design that went with the black walnut desk. And I got, my bookshelf. So that's what I wanted for my office. But then she come here looking like the Brady Bunch. It is okay, stop talking, go in your room. So I feel that it's healthy that everybody have their own space that they can decorate if they can't come to a you know, they can't mesh the styles together. And sometimes you might have to bring a person in to help you bring those styles in together.
I
So
agree.
when we went to the store, I let her she wanted pinks and stuff like that and fur. And I was like, okay. So she picked the living room set out. That's fine. I told her what I wanted for wall design because she's not a wall person. She don't care about the paintings. I
Okay.
do. I
Right.
want my walls looking a certain way.
Yeah.
So, we had to find what balance. She doesn't,
Compromise. Yeah.
she doesn't like crystal. I do. I was raised around fine crystal that was in the trunk and in the china cabinet that she didn't.
Right.
Okay, we had to find where that balance came in, but it was a struggle. It almost took us down.
Yeah. Yeah.
It almost took us down.
Well, so that in addition to, I guess I hate to I use the term roles, but anytime you're blending a family and when you have yourself and everything that you bring, whether it's children, pets, or what have you, there has to be some sort of compromise, if you will, in terms of whether you're taking out the trash or you're cooking or you're splitting up the cooking or whatever, all of those things. I could say, or I'll speak for myself, my wife and I both work. I usually work from home, or the the good portion of the week I work from home, so I don't mind cooking a meal for us or whatever, for the kids. uh for her, when we first got together, my wife would cook.
Mhm.
At this point, I don't know. I'm unsure if my wife knows how to turn on the stove. I think she know at least knows where it is, because we've eaten there. But I don't. I'm 100% sure she doesn't know how to turn it on anymore. And it's probably because she's gotten comfortable with just not doing it.
Hey, you
And
know what? I can see that.
sometimes I have to request, do you want to cook something? You feel like
Like,
cooking?
hey, the boxer that turns on and know
Ain't
what's
you
on
hungry?
there. I can say, the good thing is both of us cook.
Okay.
Um, because I work more,
Okay.
she cooks more. But if they ask me to cook certain things, like Thanksgiving is my day, I'm cooking. But
Okay.
if he wants me to cook stuff like they'll wait till 9 o'clock at night to say, "Oh, we want some gumbo." I'm not gonna tell them no. I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna make this roux and I'm gonna make them some gumbo. And
Okay.
I might not be finished until 11, 12 o'clock, but you're gonna get this gumbo. So if they ask me to do stuff, I will. Or if I feel like, I want to cook today,
Yeah.
I'll cook. But yeah, she keeps me with she can make a good meatloaf. Let me tell you. Listen, before I be ready to sign them papers, I think about that hamburger and onions, and I'm like, you know what? Let me think about that because ain't nobody gonna cook that hamburger and onions the way I want it, you
Okay.
know. So, but no, we balance that part out now. They get a little lazy sometimes, and DoorDash becomes our next door neighbor because they come
Okay.
up here more than I come home. The DoorDash is here. And then too, my family is lazy. They don't like to go to the grocery store. They would
Uh,
Instacart, and that's why we got 100% wheat bread now and stuff like that because they picking up the wrong stuff. But
yeah.
I like grocery shop. I like to take the
Yeah.
cart. I want to either have on my headphones or I
Yeah.
want to go every aisle. Let me choose my bananas, not them. They would Instacart and spend $30 for a tip when you could take that same $30 go get some more stuff.
Right.
We differ on that.
Okay.
And then too, Shay is not they don't like leftovers a lot.
Okay.
So, but then another bad thing is our taste buds are so different on a lot
Mm,
of food.
okay.
Me, I love my mushrooms, my trumpet, my oyster, my lion mane. So when I do my pho, I make my whole broth and my egg in it and all this stuff, and they be looking at me like, and I'm like, well, y'all ain't gonna eat none. So it's a lot of different grocery stores that we got. It's a
Yeah.
lot. It's really a
Yeah.
lot. But no, we
No,
balance pretty good. Shay can cook.
that's great.
It's just, she be trying to cook my noodles, but don't mess with my noodles. You ain't gonna
Okay.
do it.
Well, yeah, we all have. I think that one thing that maybe our
Right.
significant
Let's
other or
leave
our spouse. Yeah,
that.
mine's is eggs, scrambled eggs. My wife doesn't to this day. She does not know how to make my eggs. But that's
What
okay.
you
I
make
don't mind
with
making.
milk or something?
No, it's just that I think, and even sometimes Waffle House they mess it up. I really like my eggs scrambled, and for her, she will scramble them, but sometimes she'll leave it in the pan a little bit too long and not realizing that they're still cooking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Or she'll
it's
just
like
fold them
off.
instead of scrambling. So
I get
yeah,
what you're saying.
but yeah, so that's just my thing for my wife is that I don't mind going to the grocery store, like you said. She and I will go together, right? Because there's certain things that she wants, certain snacks, right? Certain snacks I
Mhm.
want. And I don't mind doing any of that. As soon as we pull back up to the house, my wife gets out the car and she goes straight in the house. She will never pick up a bag. She's like it's 200 bags in here. Her thing is, I will go to the grocery store. I will even pay for it or pay for some of it, and then the kids got to bring the groceries. Well, now she don't know, realize we down to one kid, so
Right,
somebody
right.
got to bring these groceries in the house, and she will not grab a bag. That's just
Now,
how she's
thank God
always
for
been that
the kids.
way.
I thank God for the kids because they do that. Now, what I will say is that my wife, now she does help. I will say that
Okay,
she'll go back and forth. But if she see like, all right, I think they can handle that, she seemed to perch herself in the kitchen.
yeah,
And I've been like,
relieve her duties.
I see you. And she think I pay attention. But no, it's like, no, I think that's a good balance with us.
Yeah,
The now pivoting to where there seem to always be an imbalance in relationships is chores and cleaning responsibilities, things like that, because you know the older kids, they don't do it the way I want them to do it. And so, we have to try to find that balance because I'd be ready to go to jail. I'd be ready to go. I was like, just gonna take me now because what's about to happen? Yeah, y'all about to
Yeah.
call 9/11. So, but
Listen, that is crazy. All of those scenarios. So listen, let's kind of wrap this up. We've been going for about an hour and 10 minutes. We've had lots of conversation and a lot of chat in the chat room.
I'm gonna read one of the comments we got from our good frat-in-law Taylor
Okay.
Tyson. Hold on, where did the message go?
She said, my wife is having any thoughts on the decor from home. There's a new experience for her as a femme dating a masculine centered woman. I'm very used to that being deferred to me, and it's definitely had to be mindful in creating that space for her to be able to form her expression within the home. So I 100% agree, Taylor. Uh, just have the conversation.
But
I
wait,
don't feel like that's too much.
our frat is very opinionated. Knox is
That's
very
fine.
opinionated. So she's gonna put her opinion in. So you knew good and well, Taylor. You
Yeah.
ain't cloud you because I love you, but you know good and well my frat was gonna make sure that she voiced how she liked things. And then when she gave you that look, it's like, just let my frat have it. And and I love the fact that thank you so much, Taylor, for joining in.
Yeah.
And because they just welcomed a beautiful daughter, Noelle
Yes.
Hunter. Oh gosh, she's so gorgeous, so delicious. And they
Absolutely.
created this family together, and I am so happy for them. But
Yeah.
you knew my frat was gonna have her opinion, Taylor. Come on now. We
Yeah.
alphas. We got opinion on
Yeah.
everything. And
So
if y'all
I want
marry
to.
us, y'all already knew y'all was gonna get the best of both worlds.
Okay.
They knew that.
Absolutely. I just want to challenge everybody to please share what your thoughts, comments, or suggestions are in terms of how to blend a family. What are those talking points? What's necessary? What works for you guys? What didn't work for you guys? So that we can share with our community and they can read through and kind of gather and get a sense of what to do if they find themselves looking for a new relationship or trying to blend a family. Uh, what else do you want to add to that, Joy, aside from what we talked about today?
I even though I said earlier that I would have changed. I probably wouldn't have gotten a relationship with a person with children, but I don't regret it. And I think once you find that balance and everybody find their place. Now, this one is not about roles, but you need to find your place and where you fit. I think it can be a
Right.
beautiful thing. We enjoy being grandparents. Well, I know I do. I don't know about my wife because
Yeah.
sometimes she'll be wanting to see them. But I enjoy being a grandma. I enjoy being a parent. I love having, you know, I love hosting things where they come over and we're making what do you call them things? The little cocoa bombs, and we're doing stuff together, and I love all of that. So
Me
it
too.
definitely, the good does outweigh the bad when it's done correctly, when you've made those connections the correct way. And I wouldn't change it for the world. And and if you're having difficulty in blended families, we're your community. Reach out. Let's talk through it because I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there that's experienced the same thing and can help you find a way to help that balance. And it doesn't hurt for family counseling too.
Yeah.
It doesn't, because everybody communication styles are different. Everybody got different needs, and it's all about bringing those things together and making it work for your family. And then always keep in mind, parents, them kids do got to leave at a certain time, and it's okay. That's it.
Yeah. Well, so you're talking about in terms of empty nesting, right? Is that what?
That I'm ready. No, I'm not ready because I don't want my baby to grow up. But it's some this time, in the LGBT community, some of them got older children that they're
Yeah.
becoming interested. And how do you, when your life has been centered around your children for so long, That's another conversation because we got to talk about that
Yeah,
transition. Because
yeah,
you're about
yeah.
to be a nester.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, no, 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 no. I am looking forward to it. So let me say that again, because there's some people way in the back that didn't hear. I'm looking forward to empty nesting. Okay. However, I do know, and I want to be sensitive to those parents who, who who do want their kids at home. My wife said it as well. When the kids started leaving, she was like, "Oh, I was feeling some type of way, but I didn't really say anything." I said, "Well, listen, as long as we've given them the tools that they need to go out into the world and be successful, they can always come back to ask for advice. They always
Don't
come over when they're hungry,
right.
and they always cash app you. I need $6.27, which is
Because I'm
weird. I
sure.
don't know." So I am totally okay with parenting from another address. I am totally okay with
I
that.
love parenting
Uh,
from another address. I got that.
yes,
I love.
yes, it's necessary.
Oh God, I
But
love that.
listen, I love the conversation we've had tonight. Again, we've been discussing how to blend families and the
Yeah.
challenges, the pros and the cons, and even included the baby daddies and the baby mamas. So if you
Right.
guys want to rewind this and watch it all over, if you thought of something else, please, please, please leave it something there for us in the comments. Go to the webpage and go to YouTube. Make sure you're subscribing so that you can get the notifications when we do go live.
Regal.
Um, it Keep a regal mindset. I would say be blessed. Have a great weekend. Make sure you tune in. We'll be back here shortly. And what we gonna discuss next?
We you sent over such an extensive list. We got
I
so
did.
many things to talk about, and we're going to be doing a part 2 of our mental health.
Yes. Stay
Listen,
tuned.
about mental health and sex.
The
Oh,
sex word.
just
Woo!
your preference. We talking about the act. So I can't wait to have that conversation, and we're going to have the wonderful Jacera Glover Doolin to come back and give us some more of that insight. But we're gonna talk about sex and your mental health.
Yes. It's necessary. We all
It's
should be talking about it.
because you need to figure out why it ain't working.
Absolutely. All right. So that's it for us. Regal mindset. Keep a regal mindset. Stay connected to us. We love you guys and be blessed.
Absolutely. Have a good night.